on the Crimson Tide Sports Network, a property of Learfield Sports.
Touchdown, Alabama!
Live from Bob's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa, this is Hey Coach, presented by Alpha. For the best agents in the business, call Alpha. Hey Coach is brought to you by Golden Flake, the official chip of the Crimson Tide. Your Alabama Ford dealers. Alabama Saturdays, built Ford tough. Bud Light, the perfect beer when you're up for whatever. And by Coke Zero, real Coke taste, 0 calories. Here is your host, Tom Roberts.
Good evening, everybody. Roll Tide. There you go. We're still celebrating here in T-Town. An amazing comeback win down at LSU in overtime. 5th-ranked Crimson Tide getting the victory. And the reward, well, you get to come home, number one. And then you get to play the number one team in all of college football, the Bulldogs from Mississippi State, Saturday at Bryant-Denny Stadium. It's the biggest game in all of college football, and ESPN Game Day is here, both the radio and the TV versions of the show. So it's going to be a busy weekend in T-Town. Coach Nick Saban is going to be here in about 30 minutes from now. He'll be glad to take your questions. If you're sitting at home, the number is 877-202-BAMA. If you're here at Bob's Victory Grill, Jessica Weiger is holding the microphone. There she is back there, and she'll be standing here at the corner of the bar. So get your questions ready. We got some prizes, including a $50 gift certificate from University Mall. Congratulations to Reggie Ragland, the SEC Defensive Player of the Week, to Ari Kwanjo, the SEC Offensive Lineman of the Week, and to Landon Collins, who today was named a semifinalist for the Lot Impact Trophy. So lots of folks to congratulate. Bama basketball ready to roll, starting with a doubleheader tomorrow night at Coleman Coliseum. Women taking on Florida A&M at 5:30. That game is going to be on WTSK here in Tuscaloosa. And about 8 o'clock, the men will take on Towson in their season opener. That game at 7 o'clock here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. We're going to hear from Coach Anthony Grant about his team in just a few minutes. For the second straight year, the man to my right, Ed Allen, head coach of the Alabama volleyball team. For the second straight year, he's guided his team to 20 or more victories. We're going to talk to Ed about his team in just a few minutes. They got a Sunday afternoon match against Georgia. The first part of a doubleheader on Sunday, because it'll be at Foster Auditorium. The volleyball team playing Georgia, the women taking on Duke on Sunday evening. Our honorary captains for this week are from the 1980s, Kermit Kendrick and Lamont Russell. They're going to be out in front of the stadium at 11:30 Saturday morning, signing autographs. The game day weather forecast from our friends at Barron looks like it's going to be in the mid-50s, falling into the 40s in the second half. Thank goodness the high, stiff breezes are going to be gone by then. We got a lot to do over the course of the next hour and a half. We're going to start with Ed Allen coming up next. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
Looking for the ultimate tire for your performance luxury touring vehicle? Look no further than the new Ventus S1 Noble 2 from Hankook Tire. Packed with the latest design and compounding elements focused on maximizing efficient water evacuation, providing impressive wet handling and braking, increasing cornering grip, and improving winter condition traction. The Ventus S1 Noble 2 is the ideal balance of all-season and ultra-high performance. To see more of the Ventus S1 Noble 2, visit USA Tires in Decatur. Be one with it. Hankook Tires.
Once in a while, a player comes along and completely changes the game. It's no different when it comes to a car. A car that doesn't just change the game, but dominates it. The unrivaled 2015 Toyota Camry. Now get 0% APR for 36 months on a new 2015 Toyota Camry. Toyota, let's go places. Offer valid November 4th through January 5th, 2015. Zero down with approved credit. Monthly payment for every 1,000 financed is $27.78. Excludes tax, tag, registration, title, and dealer fees. Cannot combine with other offers.
Game day brings out the best in all of us. Leadership, teamwork, tradition, spirit. These are the things we love about college athletics. They're also the values that drive the associates at Regions Bank to bring you the products, advice, and financial guidance you need to move life forward. Because at Regions, every day is game day. Regions, official bank of the SEC. Regions Bank, member FDIC.
Hey, Tide fans, when you're getting ready for this week's game, stock up on Golden Flake. Pick up your favorite bag of Golden Flake potato chips, Tostados, or cheese puffs, and you'll be ready to tailgate like a true Tide fan. Golden Flake, the favorite chip of the Alabama Crimson Tide.
The best choice you can make is a big bag of Golden Flake.
You're listening to Guy Talk, live from the Sport Clips Haircuts locker room. Caller, you're on the air.
My girlfriend beat me playing one-on-one.
Ooh, sounds like you need to hit up a Sport Clips for an awesome haircut experience and some quality man time.
I don't know. My girlfriend always takes me to her salon.
Nonsense. Be your own man and get a great haircut in a guy-friendly place from stylists who know what guys need.
You may be right.
Sure, I'm right. Now grab your Y chromosome, get down to Sport Clips, and ask for the MVP. Sport Clips. It's good to be a guy.
Welcome back to Hey Coach, presented by Alpha Insurance. For the best agents in the business, call Alpha. For the best volleyball coach in the business, call this man sitting to my right, Ed Allen. How you doing, Ed?
I'm doing great, Tom. Thanks.
Well, you're bound to be doing well. You've gotten 2 wins in a row here. You're up to 21 for the season. And I want to talk about the one last Sunday in Columbia, South Carolina. You're coming off a tough loss to a very good Florida team. You're on the road, and your ladies found a way to get a hard-fought win in 5 sets. Did it kind of, I don't know if it surprised you because you like this team, but was it really kind of a kickstart for what you hope is going to be a great stretch run?
Well, yeah, first of all, we're kind of frustrated it got into the 5th set, because we'd won the first 2 and really had control in the ability to win the 3rd set and lose it 26-24 in extended points, and then drop the 4th, and then come back and take the 5th. But really pretty frustrated with the number of unforced errors we had. I mean, we had 62 unforced errors and 20 serving errors in that deal, Tom. So it was great to come up with it, and it's good to play poorly and still find a way to win. And of course, that's a tough place to play. I mean, it's a gym off of Hoosiers, and the crowd's right on top of you. You can't really get near the court, and and they get in there and make some noise and support their team.
Well, the atmosphere must have appealed to Crystal Rivers. 29 kills and a dozen digs, her 9th double-double of the season.
Yeah, she just continues to perform well, and I think it's getting better every week, and supported very well by a Kat Hudson, I think she put up 26 or 27 kills as a freshman, and putting up numbers that we're starting to become accustomed to, but not numbers that you usually see out of a freshman.
No, not at all. But then again, she had a great match last night. You get the home win over Mississippi State, and Kat kind of led the way, didn't she?
She did. It had a little bit more balance and got a little bit more production out of Leah Lawrence in the middle as well. But, definitely not one of those matches where we had to lean on Crystal as much as what we have most of the year.
I want to talk about Crystal for just a moment or so, something that you told me back last spring and summer when she was battling cancer. It's so amazing to me. This young lady overcomes cancer, shows so much courage. Her teammates, I would assume, really helped her through it. It's been an amazing story.
It really is. I mean, when you think about how she's kind of handled that, how she's handled being moved to a new position, and quite frankly hasn't missed a beat out of all of that, and then is a great inspiration for her teammates and people around her, because she's a kid that just as I had told ESPN when they'd asked about her, I think she's just a very quiet warrior, but she's a kid that shows up every day, does her job, doesn't complain, and makes everybody better.
Well, she's all SEC. In my book, she's an All-American, and if there's an award for a courageous athlete, she deserves it. The thing I guess I admire most is that she just battled it all the way through and continues to battle now, helping this team make it to the NCAA. And the next step is a match Sunday afternoon against Georgia. What do the Bulldogs bring in?
Well, I think a team that has some balance. They get 4 or 5 kids that put up reasonable numbers from a hitting perspective, and a team that really is probably a little bit better than what their record indicates. They're just under 500, and they can be a dangerous team. And we had a tough moment. We opened SEC play against them at their place in front of a record crowd, and won that match 3-1. But thought we played probably I don't know if it was well as what we could play, but played reasonably well, and I'm not sure that they played as well as they were capable of. So it could be interesting this time around.
Well, I love it's the the first part of a day-night doubleheader, I guess you'd call it, at Foster. You play them at 1, and then women's basketball takes on Duke. Pretty darn good basketball team on Sunday night.
I think you're going to get a chance to see a great volleyball match and obviously a great basketball match following that. But I mean, anytime you can have a team like Duke come in and get a chance to play, I think it's definitely worth getting out and seeing.
Well, it's definitely worth getting out and seeing the women. They play twice this weekend. One of them is tomorrow night, the opener of a doubleheader at Coleman Coliseum at 5:30. Christy Curry, the co-resident of Foster Auditorium with the volleyball team, she's doing a great job.
No question. I think really doing a great job of recruiting true student athletes that are committed to going to class, doing the right things, and making the basketball program better.
And by the way, she signed a recruiting class that includes Taylor Doan, Sikoria Foy, Trista McGee, and Shakira Wade, 25th in the country, 4th in the SEC. That sounds like a volleyball recruiting class.
It does, and I'm sure it's going to pay huge dividends for her as she gets those kids in here and continues to take a step forward.
Maybe there's a Kat Hudson in that group for women's basketball.
If so, she'll look like a genius.
That's great. Well, you look like a genius. And that takes a lot. No, I'm teasing.
You're darn right it does.
Ed, thanks for stopping by. Congratulations on the 2 wins. Go get another one on Sunday afternoon.
Thanks, Tom.
Ed Allen, head coach of the Alabama volleyball team. Crimson Tide playing at 1 o'clock Sunday at Foster Auditorium. And glad that Ed could stop by and talk with us about his team. And you fans out there listening, you can download the official Alabama Game Day app and get every digital football game day program free of charge. It's easy. Just search for Alabama Game Day from your app store and update for each game. Download it now, the official Alabama Game Day app, presented by Adobe DPS, your best way to mobilize the Tide. And you folks here at Bob's Victory Grill, you can buy the hard copy of the Game Day program. It's available. Just see one of the members of our Crimson Tide sports marketing staff here at Bob's Victory Grill. We're going to talk Bama basketball next. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
A boy born in Joplin, Missouri was fascinated by anything with wheels and a motor. The odds of him going on to fascinate millions with his talent, 1 in 260,000. The odds of him having 15 career NASCAR victories, 1 in 1.7 million. The odds of a child being diagnosed with autism, 1 in 68. I'm Jamie McMurray, and my niece has autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
When I have an asthma attack, I feel scared. It's kind of like an elephant is on my chest. I feel like I'm choking. Sometimes my parents have to take me to the hospital.
You know how to react to their asthma attacks. Here's how to prevent them. Visit www.noattacks.org or call your doctor, because even one attack is one too many.
I feel like a fish with no water.
Brought to you by the EPA and the Ad Council.
I'm John, a volunteer at United Way. I'm here at Lincoln Elementary School to find out what this place needs. Who knows better about what kids need than kids, right? Let's ask them.
Monsters! Lasers! A pool! Another guinea pig! More lasers! Sprinkles!
I was thinking more spinach at lunchtime and maybe more exercise.
Nah. Lasers are cool.
When it comes to creating healthier communities, what this place needs is you. To donate or volunteer, go to UnitedWay.org, because great things happen when we live united. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
My name is Dale Pazinski, and this is how I live united. I volunteer with United Way, helping the homeless in my community by teaching computer skills and helping them build a basic resume to save on their very own USB drive. It's huge when somebody says, "Hey man, that job that you helped me apply for, I got it." My name is Dale Pazinski. I help people achieve financial independence. So I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Bob's Victory Grill here in Tuscaloosa. The Hey Coach, presented by Alpha Insurance. Alabama men open their season tomorrow night at Coleman Coliseum. About an 8 o'clock tip-off. Crimson Tide taking on Towson, the opener for the season. Last Monday night, Bama got a victory in its only exhibition game, beating the Montevallo Falcons 81-67. And between that game and tomorrow night's, Coach Anthony Grant went out and signed 3 pretty darn good basketball players in the early recruiting period. Earlier this afternoon, Anthony talked about that recruiting class and tomorrow night's game against Towson.
we're excited about the class that we had a chance to sign yesterday. 3 in-state guys that we're really excited about. Talk a little bit about each one of them specifically. Dazon Ingram is a young man out of Mobile, Alabama, that we were able to sign. Got a chance to see him play quite a bit as a junior and really going into his senior year. He's a guy I think that brings a versatility to the game in terms of his ability to play multiple positions. He's got great size for a combo guard. I think he's got great vision. Really rebounds the ball well from the perimeter. So I think he's a guy that will add a lot of intangibles in terms of what he brings to the table to our team. Another young man, Brandon Austin from Montgomery, Alabama, played at Carver. His high school coach was a former player here at Alabama. Had a chance to see him a lot as a young man. He's been committed to us for the last 2 years. Another guy I think style of play-wise that will really help in terms of bringing a variety of skills in terms of shooting, defending, athleticism to our backcourt. So those 2 guys from a perimeter standpoint, we're excited to add them. And then Dante Hall from Luverne is a young man that we've recruited for a couple of years, and he's been committed for over a year to us. 6'9", really long, probably reminds a lot of people of Jimmy Taylor in terms of what he brings to the table with his length and athleticism. So we're really excited about adding all 3 of those guys. We feel like we really addressed the needs that we have on our team, and certainly one of the big things for us is always trying to keep the best players in our state here at home. So we're excited to add all 3 of those guys to our roster for the upcoming season. I'll go ahead and address, I know some of you may have questions in regards to Ricky, Retton, and Mike in terms of their status. We were able to practice yesterday, and Ricky and Retton we're going to list as probable. They were able to go through some things yesterday in practice, and I think at this point we'll see how they do today, but if everything goes as expected, they'll be probable for the game tomorrow. Mike is doubtful for the game. He's still progressing nicely, no setbacks, but obviously we're going to make sure that before we put any of those guys on the court that they're prepared to go. Jeff Garrett will also be doubtful tomorrow. He had, I think, his 3 or 4 wisdom teeth that were pulled on Tuesday, so I think just giving him a chance to heal from that surgery, so he'll be probably doubtful for tomorrow. In regards to the game, we're really excited about getting the season started, coming off our exhibition. It's here. Tomorrow's the first day of the college basketball season. So it's great for us to be able to kick it off. We've got our women. We'll play at 5:30. We'll play at 8 o'clock, and certainly we hope that we get a great crowd. A lot of things going on campus this weekend with women's basketball, volleyball, obviously a big-time football game. And then I think our women's basketball team has Duke here on Sunday, so hopefully we'll get a great crowd, a lot of great events going on campus here for this weekend. But for us, we're really excited about the chance to open up our season against Towson. Towson's a team that's coming off the most successful season in school history last year. I think they won 25 games. I think they went 13-3 in their league. They got 4 guys returning off that team of last year. And I think if you watch them play, you're talking about a team that's I think been known for their physicality, for their toughness, a team that shows a lot of grit, and that'll be a great challenge for our team. The first game of the season to come out and be able to do the things that we need to do to come out victorious. But I think our guys are really excited. I think they really believe in each other and what we've talked about that we need to do. This will be a great challenge, but I think our guys are ready to accept that and try to go out there and really just help each other and get the mission done. So we're excited about it.
Coach Anthony Grant, here's Bama men open the season tomorrow night against Towson. Again, it's a doubleheader at Coleman Coliseum. The Bama women taking on Florida A&M. That's a 5:30 tip-off, 5:25 airtime on WTSK here in Tuscaloosa. The men will play Towson about 8 o'clock, and 7 o'clock is the airtime on the network for Chris Stewart and Brian Pasick. It's a very busy broadcast schedule over the next several days. Of course, Saturday morning at 11:30, we'll be on the air. In fact, Tyler Watts and Todd Robbins will be right here at Bob's Victory Grill to open our coverage of Bama against Mississippi State, 11:30 Saturday morning. Then Sunday night at 6:55, it's the women taking on Duke. And then Tuesday night at 5:55, Bama women taking on Jacksonville State. So 3 games in 5 days for the Bama women as they get the season started. It pays to be a Crimson Tide fan with Best Western of Alabama. Whether you're traveling for work or play, get up to 20% off rates and a chance to win a $100 travel card this fall. Visit bestwesternalabama.com/Roll Tide. We're going to take a look at our performance of the week and check out the honorary captains for this week. That's coming up next. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
Do game day right. With LG, it's all possible. LG home appliances are right in step with your busy world. The largest capacity washer in its class saves you up to 20 minutes per load, even on larger loads. LG's door-and-door refrigerators offer instant access to gotta-have snacks. And with LG Easy Clean, you've got a sparkling oven in minutes. Come check out the latest in LG innovations at your local Best Buy or online at bestbuy.com/LG.
Insurance is simply being prepared.
Security.
To cover the what-ifs. I'm there to help protect my families.
You want to protect everything you work for.
The people that I deal with purchase insurance because they love somebody.
I think of insurance as being a promise.
That I'm going to be there when you need me.
I'm giving them a promise that if they have a loss, I'm going to be there.
That's the Alpha way. That's what we do.
For the best agents in the business, call Alpha.
On game day, whether it's on the field or at the tailgate, the best rise to the top. Because when the Crimson Tide are driving to victory, there's no compromise. That's why Ford delivers available EcoBoost engine technology that offers a winning combination of power and efficiency. Just another reason why Ford is America's best-selling brand. Check out F-150, Fusion, Escape, and the all-new Expedition at your local Ford dealer. America's best-selling brand based on 2013 calendar year sales.
For every 4 skilled tradesmen who retire from the construction industry, only 1 person is entering an apprenticeship program to take their place. So if you're interested in making a good living by working with your hands, a career in construction and a nice salary are squarely within your reach. Go Build Alabama is committed to educating young minds about the opportunities that come from mastering a skilled trade. To learn more, register at gobuildalabama.com today. Go Build Alabama. And Roll Tide.
Bud Light and NFL fans, this is the tale of Wayne Tupperhill, the man who spent the '97 season calculating the perfect Bud Light to ice to cooler size ratio, who once knocked over a priceless marble bust to save a falling Bud Light. But there are many legends like Wayne, and Bud Light's rewarding them with experiences like an ultimate NFL weekend. Bud Light, the perfect beer for whatever happens.
Ultimate NFL experience open to U.S. residents 21 plus. No purchase necessary. Ends 12/31/14. See upforwhatever.com for details. Void where prohibited. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer. AB, St. Louis, Missouri.
Welcome back to Hey Coach, presented by Alpha Insurance. For the best agents in the business, call Alpha. We're live at Bob's Victory Grill here in Tuscaloosa, and it's time to take a look at our Cooper Tire Performance of the Week, presented by Cooper Tires. Life's a road trip. Come on, let's go. Visit CooperTire.com to find your local Cooper Tires dealer. It was a great performance by our Crimson Tide football team in Baton Rouge, getting the 20-13 win in overtime, and the coaching staff recognized 10 players for their role in the game. Ari Quanjo and DeAndrew White were the honorees on offense. Landon Collins, Brandon Ivory, Cyrus Jones, Nick Perry, and Reggie Ragland represented the defense. And then on the special teams, Reuben Foster, Adam Griffith, and Cole Mazza. And by the way, another guy who had a pretty good game was Landon Collins, today named a semifinalist for the Lott Impact Trophy. And 2 of our pro players, let's talk about quickly. The Saints' Mark Ingram, 27 carries, 120 yards. That's his 3rd straight game of 100 or more. And Marcel Darius, 3 sacks for the Buffalo Bills. He's now 4th in the NFL with 10 sacks on the season. Time for Crimson Tide Tailgate Tradition, brought to you by Red Baron Pizza. One of our great traditions is honorary captains for Alabama games. And this week, we have 2 Crimson Tide stars from the 80s, Kermit Kendrick and Lamont Russell. Kermit was an All-American, a 4-year starter for the Crimson Tide, played cornerback and safety. And Lamont Russell starred on the 87 to 90 teams, earning all SEC and 2nd team All-American honors. He set the school record for receptions by a tight end with 51 for 622 yards and 5 touchdowns. Kermit and Lamont will be signing autographs Saturday morning from 11:30 to 12:30 in a tent at the corner of Wallace Wade and University Boulevard near the ESPN Game Day radio setup. Crimson Tide Tailgate Tradition brought to you by Red Baron Pizza. Visit tailgateatyourplace.com for a great game day idea and also enter for a chance to win $150,000 in prizes from Red Baron. And a quick reminder, I see David DeSantis from Tuscaloosa Toyota. When you go to those women's games at Foster Auditorium, make sure you register for your chance to win a Crimson Camry from Tuscaloosa Toyota. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
Hey, Alabama fans, Academy Sports and Outdoors is the place to go when you need the gear to support your team. Academy is your one-stop shop for Crimson Tide jerseys, t-shirts, caps, novelty items, and more at everyday low prices. Be sure to visit your local Academy store or academy.com to stock up on Crimson Tide gear for the season. Academy Sports and Outdoors, official sponsor of the Alabama Crimson Tide.
The right stuff, the low price, every day. Academy.
Nothing means it's game day like ice cold Coke Zero, because zero means it's game day.
What about when...
No.
But you don't even know what I was going to say.
Were you going to say zero means it's game day, so therefore nothing means it's game day like Coke Zero?
No, but...
Then it doesn't matter, does it? The refreshing taste of Coke Zero. Zero means it's game day.
Hey, this is Coach Nick Saban. Like you, Coke Zero is a proud sponsor of the Crimson Tide. So when you're enjoying the game this season, feel free to crack open a Coke Zero and enjoy that too. Roll Tide.
Toyota Materials Handling of Alabama is the authorized dealer for Toyota forklifts, the world's #1 forklift manufacturer right here in the USA. Toyota Materials Handling has short and long-term rentals available ranging from 3 to 36,000 pounds, and they provide parts and service for any model forklift. Ask Toyota Materials Handling about their no hidden fees guarantee and service loaner program. Call Toyota Materials Handling of Alabama today and speak with their consultants. Call toll-free 866-957-2250 or go online to toyotamaterials.com.
Ready for this week's game? We're talking the rumbling roar of Big Al and another epic Roll Tide. But we're also talking great pizza. As a proud sponsor of the Alabama Crimson Tide, Red Baron Pizza is kicking off your game day at tailgateatyourplace.com. Score big with awesome party ideas, winning recipes, and impressive school trivia. Plus, a chance to win over $150,000 in prizes. Red Baron, Roll Tide.
You're back on Hey Coach, presented by Alpha. We're live at Bob's Victory Grill here in Tuscaloosa. Coach Nick Saban will be joining us in about 3 or 4 minutes from now. A very nice honor handed out this week by the NCAA. They're going to present their 2015 Award of Valor to the late John Servati, a swimmer here at the University of Alabama. Back in April, John survived a tornado in the basement of a home in T-Town. He shielded another University of Alabama student from a collapsing retaining wall, literally sacrificing his own life for another. So that'll be a nice award for the family of John Servati, presented by the NCAA. Our media guest for the week is Tom Rinaldi from ESPN. And Tom's a smart man. Instead of coming up here and talking to me, he's been spending time with Terry Saban. We got plenty of time for Tom coming up as he joins us as our media guest. Right now, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Alabama 811, the sponsor of our first caller every week, reminding you to be safe. Always call 811 before you dig. It's free. It's the law. Utility companies will come out and locate and mark those buried lines, so call 811. Coach Nick Saban joins us next. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
A ranger station.
I'd like to report a bear hug.
Okay.
I put out my campfire and Smokey Bear hugged me.
So you drowned the fire, you stirred it, drowned it again, and felt that it was cold?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but he's just letting you know you did good.
Bear hug from Smokey Bear. Status update.
I'm gonna let you go now. There are many ways to start a fire, but one sure way to put it out. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service Ad Council and your state forester.
So, who's going to do what? Flashlights?
Nowhere to be found.
Emergency supply kits?
Not packed.
What about blankets?
We have an old towel.
Cell phones?
May not work.
Emergency water?
Not a drop.
Perfect. We all know where we're meeting if we're separated.
The library. On Jones' house. The bus stop.
And I'll be waiting here wondering where you all are. Great. It sounds like we don't have a plan.
Winging it is not an emergency plan. Make sure your kids know what to do during an emergency, who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
On the next episode of Recipes for Disaster.
I'm making beef sliders for my friend Sandy. Nana taught me to always pull meat off the grill early so it's extra juicy.
Use a food thermometer to ensure ground beef is 160 degrees, or you could make people really sick. Sandy didn't think twice about the slider she ate until yoga class, when a nasty case of food poisoning turned her downward-facing dog into upward-moving lunch. Watch Recipes for Disaster at foodsafety.gov and learn the steps Maria unwittingly leaves out. Brought to you by the USDA, HHS, and the Ad Council.
How to be a great dad in 15 seconds. Bike ride, go fish, walk in the park, phone call, milkshake, play catch, picnic, fly a kite, tell jokes, laugh, talk, read a story, tell a story, bumper car, swing set, bowling, pillow fight, cut loose, stay tight. Whew. Because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Live from Bob's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa, this is the Nick Saban Show. Presented by Alpha. For the best agents in the business, call Alpha. Also brought to you by Golden Flake, the official chip of the Crimson Tide. Your Alabama Ford dealers. Alabama Saturdays. Built Ford tough. Bud Light, the perfect beer when you're up for whatever. And by Coke Zero. Real Coke taste, 0 calories. Now, with Coach Nick Saban, here's Tom Roberts.
Thank you very much. Roll Tide, everybody, and welcome back to Bob's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa. Already on stage with me, we're waiting on Coach Saban, is Tom Rinaldi of ESPN. Glad you're back in T-Town.
Thanks for having me, Tom. My pleasure.
I was going to say already that you're the best storyteller on television. Tom Stipe, our producer, has already complimented you as the best writer on television. I get an idea from watching your work that you really love what you're doing.
I can't lie. It's like winning the lottery.
Yeah.
That's the job that I have. It's a great, great gig in every facet and every way because I am able to do feature stories and cover huge events, which is wonderful, but also have the opportunity to tell some stories, too.
Well, we must say that the applause right now is not for either Tom here on the stage, but for the head coach of the Crimson Tide, Nick Saban, who joins us now at Bob's Victory Grill. And a tough, hard-fought, great win at LSU last Saturday night. Congratulations on that, Coach. But you had to put that one behind you pretty quickly, didn't you?
Yeah.
That's no fun. You ought to have at least a day or two to enjoy a great one.
Well, we have a 24-hour rule where we let everybody enjoy the victory, and then you got to turn the page and move on. As coaches, sometimes we don't get that much time. We got to get right back on it the next day. But, you know, it really says something about a group of people who can, you know, find a way out of so much adversity, you know, some of which we created for ourselves in terms of the way we played and that type of thing. But then to elevate the energy level in the last 2 drives and do what we needed to do to stop them on defense after the fumble, you know, that's something special, you know, and really good teams, you know, always have that ability. But something that is also important is, you know, you hope the team doesn't need, you know, that kind of adversity to create that kind of energy. I mean, what would happen if you just had that kind of energy before the game ever started and played the whole game that way? So, you know, our team seems to, now we have it on at home, which I think largely is due to the great crowd that we always have and the great atmosphere that we have. But, you know, in all these games on the road, you know, no matter how well we played or how poorly we played, we play really well at times, and then we get in the doldrums a little bit at times. And I don't exactly know, you know, why that is, but we have the next 3 games at home. Most importantly, we got this game at home, which is the most important game of the year for us.
Well, and the guy who's sitting between us is one of our favorites. I know he's one of yours, Tom Rinaldi. Tom, chime in with a question for the coach.
Coach, what's the difference between coaching players in preparing them to play and teaching them how to win, how to finish?
Well, I think the biggest thing about that is, what we try to teach our players is, I think this teaches you how to play and how to win, is you got to stay focused on the process and the things that you need to do to play successfully. I know as fans, we all worry tremendously about outcomes. All right, so it's difficult from a media standpoint and everything that a player hears, not kind of get caught up in, all that. Everything's outcome oriented. That's the way life is in a lot of ways. But people who are really successful can stay focused on the vision that they have, what they want to accomplish, and the process of things that it takes to actually do that. And in a football game, you got to be able to do that every play in the game, one play at a time. When something bad happens, you got to look at that as an opportunity to do the next best thing as soon as possible so that you can overcome that and play the next play. Because what I try to get, the San Antonio Spurs, most successful organizations have some kind of a mantra that gets you back to process. Somebody sent me this week, their sort of team motto is pound the rock. And, that comes from an old stonecutter who talked about how he would pound the rock, 100 times. Nothing had happened. On the 101st hit, it would break like he wanted it to break. But it didn't break because of the 101st hit. It broke because of the previous 100 hits. Yeah. And that's what really made a difference. So you're talking about perseverance, all right, to a process of things that you need to do to be successful, and people's ability to stay focused on that and not get affected by all the external factors. I talk about this all the time. So that's how people learn how to be successful. That's how people learn how to play well. And they know if they play well, they're going to have the best chance to win. It comes down to execution and doing little things correctly. I challenged our players, the defense, when they went out after the fumble. I said, now's the time to show that you know how to win. We've got to get a stop here. And then when the offense went out there and went 2 minutes, I said, now's the time to show that you know how to win. And they did. But hopefully we don't need that kind of adversity and that kind of circumstance and situation to go play a 60-minute game and be able to do that right from the start, which is certainly the goal and what it's going to take this week to beat this team.
All right, Tom, feel free to chime in anytime. Right now we're going to go to the best seat in the house, all from Birmingham, Brittany Hurst, Tracy Porch, Mary Raines, and with our first question for the coach from the audience, Susan Stats-Sidwell. Susan?
Hey, Nick. My son recently went for a job promotion with a huge major company, and they asked him a major question after like the 5th round of interviews, and they said, would you rather, do you hate to lose or love to win? And when my son came home and said something about it, I said, oh my gosh, what would Nick say? And just wondering what you might say.
Well, to be honest, it's true on both counts. I hate to lose, and I love to win. So,
yeah, there's no way to determine which is the bigger.
Yeah, now what I guess a more important question, and probably what they were searching for when they asked the question, was what motivates you? Are you motivated by fear of failure, right, fear of losing, or are you motivated to try to do things in a way that's going to give you the best chance to be successful? That's a much more positive approach, and I think that's the other way creates a lot of anxiety, it creates a lot of fear, it creates a lot of doubt. It doesn't promote positive energy and people really striving to be their best and enjoying their work and all that type of thing. So I don't like to look at the negatives. You think about negatives as a coach because you're trying to prepare your team for things that might happen, but you certainly don't want to approach them, like we never say, if you do it like that, you're going to get beat.
Yeah.
That's not allowed by a coach. If you keep playing that way, you're going to get your butt kicked. We never say things like that. Those to me are negative statements that you're trying to motivate somebody through fear of failure, which, back when I played, maybe the Woody Hayes, Bo Schembechler approach, they did that a little bit. Now, they cared about their players, so I don't mean that in a negative way. All right, but in this day and age, I think players respond a lot better when, they know what they want to accomplish. You sort of convince them these are the things they need to do it. When they're not doing those things, go right back to, well, this is what you said you wanted. Tell me how your behavior and what you're doing now is helping you do that. And that's what works best for us.
What's the prime difference between you now and you in your first year as a head coach?
He's more patient now.
I am more patient. But, I think I got a lot better, to be honest with you. And I've had a lot of really good people, Dr. Rosen, Trevor. We've always had people.
Trevor Moad, right?
Yeah. Kevin Elko.
Right.
But we've always had people, even before this, that always were sort of educating our players, which educated me on human behavior and how people respond. And I think that I've probably changed about 360 degrees on how you approach players and how you approach people to try to get them to do their best.
From what to what?
From probably more of the intimidating type approach, early on, being tough and aggressive and trying to get everybody to be tough and aggressive, and probably a little bit more fear motivation rather than trying to be positive to get, the guys to decide what they want to do, show them how to do it, get them to buy into what they need to do to be able to accomplish it. That seems to work best. And it's a lot more fun that way, and you can have a lot better relationships with people.
Our Alabama 811 first caller is not Pee Wee tonight.
Whoa.
Well, there's a reason.
We won a lot of games around here with Pee Wee calling first.
Well,
so.
There's a reason. He's standing at the corner of the bar with a microphone in his hand.
Well, then he ought to ask the first question.
He's got it. Pee Wee, roll tide.
Roll tide. How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing all right, Pee Wee. How are you?
I'm doing well, sir. The question I have is, we had a very physical game last week, and we've got another one this week. And you had mentioned in your press conference on Monday a lot of the mental part that had to be as far as being the physical toughness. My question is how does Scott Cochran and his group play into this as far as, especially during the summertime, during the fourth quarter program, his relationship with the players and how that affects him, especially at this time of the year when we have these type of games?
Right. Well, I think that it's a cumulative effect. All right. It's not one thing. It's not how that we decide as an organization to try to get our players to recover this week. That's part of it. But it's also the conditioning regimen that we do throughout the year. It's the time we give the players off, even during the season. It's the summer conditioning program where we try to get our players to believe that being in great condition, winning in the fourth quarter, is going to be an important part of what we need to do in this league. And mental and physical toughness is a big part of that, which you have to make things difficult to really develop that. So that's a big part of it. And Scott Cochran does a lot of that because he spends more time with the players. It starts in the off-season program. We have a tough off-season program where we're trying to promote the same kind of work ethic, the same kind of ability to overcome adversity, to do things when you're tired. And the biggest thing we try to get our players to do is not judge. Everybody wants to judge. They judge, I'm tired. Well, our players thought they were tired in the third quarter. They thought it was a physical game in the third quarter. Well, how did they resurrect themselves in the last two series on defense to stop them and on offense to score twice? I mean, if you were that tired in the third quarter, but you think that, you judge that. And I think when you make those kind of judgments, but really, if you can just stay, I always say it all the time, be where your feet are, stay where you are right now, focus on what you have to do right now, then you have a much better chance of being positive and looking at the next play. There's a story about Joe Montana that a player asked him one time in a huddle about the last play, and he said, I can't remember. I'm focused on the next play.
Yeah.
Well, if you can get everybody to think that way, that's because the next play is the only play that matters. The last play you can learn from, but it really doesn't matter. So All those things to me are a cumulative effect of what you're trying to get players to do so that they feel like, they can overcome adversity, or that they are in great condition, that they don't think they're tired, they don't think negative things, they think what they have to do on the next play and in the future so that they have a chance to be successful. Scott Cochran does a really good job of that, and he probably has as much to do with creating that in our organization because he spends so much time with the players, not necessarily in the season, the coaches do, all right, but leading up to the season and developing some of those characteristics. So, that's what we're trying to be, an overachieving team all the time. That's our goal, to get everybody to be the best that they can be. Now, when you get high-profile players, they haven't had to do that sometimes, so they don't understand that. They've had a lot of success without doing that, so they look at you like, why do I need to do that? Well, that's what we try to promote in some of these guys, and some of them have done it very, very well.
Pee Wee, glad you're here. Come up here and grab this gift card from University Mall. You can shop and dine in climate-controlled comfort before or after the game Saturday at University Mall. We're to our first break. We'll have more questions for the coach coming up. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
Tide fans, make University Mall part of your football weekend game plan. Avoid the campus traffic. Take the Tuscaloosa Charter Tide Ride from University Mall to Bryant-Denny and back for just $10. While you're here, enjoy great shopping, dining, the area's best selection of Bama fan gear, and special Crimson weekend savings. We're West Alabama's in-place to shop for over 30 years. That's University Mall. Roll Tide.
Think it's only a game? You win some, lose some, just give the old college try. Not around here. Because in Tuscaloosa, winning on the field and the work site isn't everything. It's the only thing. Alabama and the 2014 Ford F-150. This team, this truck will make a believer out of you. For great offers on a new F-150, go to shopfordnow.com or see your local Ford dealer today.
The Tide will be rolling soon, but if you haven't gotten your Bama Banking Visa check card, you're not really ready for kickoff. Bama Banking, exclusively from BBVA Compass, is the perfect way to show your pride in the Tide. Call 1-800-COMPASS or go online at bbvacompass.com/Bama. Bama builds champions. At BBVA Compass, you can be a champion too by sporting one of our limited edition Bama Banking check cards. Sign up for Bama Banking and show your pride every time you use your check card. Call 1-800-COMPASS or go online at bbvacompass.com/Bama.
100 years says a lot about Cooper Tires. It's adjusting to the growing demands of our customers and the roads they drive on. It's a century's worth of innovation delivering the most advanced tires on the market. Case in point, the all-new CS5 Touring Tire, designed for the way real drivers really drive. There's no other tire like it. Come in and see what 100 years of innovation looks like with the all-new CS5 Touring. Cooper Tires. Life's a road trip. Come on, let's go.
Play clock, 2-1. They get the snap away. Slant, thrown, caught. Alabama first down. Cooper breaks the tackle 5. He's going to go. Touchdown, Alabama.
Amari Cooper with one of the touchdowns for the Crimson Tide last Saturday night in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Welcome back to the Nick Saban Show, presented by Alpha Insurance. Our media guest this week, Tom Rinaldi, and you're not by yourself, are you?
No, I'm not. I have the great pleasure of being joined by our son, Jack. This is his first time, his first trip to Alabama, his first experience in Tuscaloosa, his first time at College Game Day.
Wow.
His first. Jack, stand up there and give a wave.
There you go.
There he is.
And Jack has a sister at home who's envious.
Jack has a sister at home, Tess, 7 years old, who is very envious but having a great time with Mom.
Well, and Mom, you got to pay tribute to her because I know she goes through a lot because you're on the road so darn much.
No question. Whether she is 2 or 3 or 4 seats from Jesus, that may be debatable, but she's in the front row. My wife is fantastic.
Well, that's super. Well, we're delighted you're in Tuscaloosa. I have an idea. You love every game town you go to, don't you?
We do. I mean, on College Game Day, we're so fortunate. It's our own sort of version of the college football circus, so we're visiting campuses all the time. But truthfully, Tuscaloosa is such a wonderful place to come. Everybody is so hospitable. Obviously, the program has had such great success, so we've been here so often, but it never loses its charm or its power.
To me, that's what's great about living in a college town. It's just a super place to live. All right, start the second quarter hour with a question for the coach.
Sure. Coach, I just referenced that my son Jack is here, and selfishly, I've had the opportunity to go back to where you grew up. I talked to people who knew you as a young boy and now where you've reached in life. One piece of advice for success in life for a 10-year-old, what would it be?
Well, first of all, let me commend you for, the one thing that my dad always did when I was a kid, he took me everywhere. Mm-hmm. When we went to the bank, I went with him. He made me sit in the car, but I still went to the bank. I went to a ball game, I went to the ball game. He had a team. We went to drag the ball diamond, do the infield. I'd go with him everywhere. So I commend you for bringing your son and exposing him to these kinds of things and these kind of people. And I got lots of comments today from people in our organization about what a fine young man he is, how he shakes hands and all that. So, that's because you engage him and do a good job with him. But I think that the one thing that I would tell any young person is, enjoy a lot of things when you're young. Because about the time you get to be a senior in high school or when you go to college, then you got to start developing, what do I want to do? What do I want to be? Well, there's a lot of pressure in our society now to specialize so early. Like I'm going to be a tennis player when I'm 11 years old. That's all I do is play tennis. I never enjoy any other sports. I never get to play basketball and do all the other things. And this could be about studies or anything. I'm just using sports as an analogy here. But I would say the more experiences that you have when you're young, you're going to have a better chance and a better opportunity to know exactly what you want to do and have a vision for what you want to do. So you're going to be more likely to stick with it and, be able to do the things that you need to do and have the discipline it takes to, sort of accomplish some of those things. So that would be the advice that I would give, is don't get in this specialize right off the bat, and you got to be the best player at everything, and participation is the most important thing. And it's not all about winning. It's about how you play the game, how you do things, how you feel about yourself. Did you do your best? Not just we won. Well, we won last week, but we really didn't do our best. We didn't play our best. And as a coach, I want us to play our best. Well, to fans, they just want you to win. So, but to continue to win, you have to know that you're playing your best, doing your best to be the best you can be no matter what it is you choose to do. So that would be my advice.
All right, let's go to the Academy Sports and Outdoors hotline to Harold in Roswell, Georgia. Harold, roll tide. How are you?
Oh, doing fine, Tom. How about yourself?
Doing super.
Roll tide.
Hi, Harold. How are you?
I'm doing fine. How you doing, Coach?
Good.
That's great. Great win last Saturday. I just love their field goal kicker, kicking that ball out of bounds and putting the ball on the 35. That made it a lot easier to move the ball down the field to kick that field goal at the time of the game. And, Coach, I do have a question. I think football is a game of peaks and valleys. I think right now we're peaking at the right time, and I think we're playing together as a unit. I don't think there's another selfish player on that team. I think they want to win. And, Coach, I think we're going to beat the Mississippi State team Saturday, move up to number 4. And I like your opinion as a team if we're playing together as a unit. To me, that is the most important thing to go forward and finish the game.
Well, I will say one thing, and I don't know if I've ever said this before publicly, but regardless of what happens the remainder of the season, and this team will get defined by how they finish the season. Every team does. I told the team that earlier in the week. We were 11-0. We went to Auburn last year. You lose that game in a tough circumstance at the end of the game, and then we didn't really play very well in the Sugar Bowl. So that team got defined by how they finished the season the last 2 games, and this team will too. All right, but this is going to be a truth about this team regardless of what happens the rest of the season. This has been one of the most pleasurable teams that we have to coach. Good guys, really, and I'll tell you, part of the motivation, especially for our team last week and especially for our offense, was when TJ fumbled, they did not want that to be on him, that he did something that caused us not to have success in this game. And that was a huge motivation, for our players. And I think that speaks a lot of the team chemistry and how the players really do like each other and sort of have each other's back, whatever you want to say. But, you know, we don't have a lot of issues and problems on this team. Guys are really good people. We haven't always been the most consistent group in how we've performed, but they're still a really good group to coach. They all want to do well, and they're very respectful. And I think that team chemistry has really helped this team, you know, do as well as they have to this point, and hopefully it'll carry us through beyond this.
All right, we have a couple of ladies here. I think they're in a group of ladies who might be from Coleman, Alabama.
That's right.
Tell us who you are.
We're the Crimson Ladies from Coleman, Alabama, and we have those back there at the back table. We're a group of ladies that just dearly love Alabama football, and we even love it more since Coach Saban is here. And we would like to present a check to you for Nick's kids.
Oh, great.
From our group of ladies. We held fundraisers to be able to do this, and we appreciate what you do because we all know that kids are very, very important.
Very important.
And so we just appreciate everything you do, and we never want you to leave the university.
Well, thank you.
Roll Tide.
Well, you know, there's an old motto, no man stands as tall as when he stoops to help a child. So I'm changing it to no lady stands as tall as when she stoops to help a child. So thank you.
That's right. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Good.
The Crimson Ladies from Coleman.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Tonight's first question from the Nick Saban Show blog at AL.com. Andy in Mobile says, Coach, how do you deal with the pressure on you like last Saturday night and keep from having a stroke, a heart attack, or something like that? Do you run? Do you swim? Do you work out, or what? How do you do it?
I just... You know, but when the game's going on, my biggest problem is getting to the game.
Yeah.
Just get me to the game. You know, once we come out of the tunnel, I'm fine. Because from that time on, I'm always thinking about the next play, the next circumstance. We fumble the ball. Okay, first thing I do is turn to Trey DePriest, alert timeout. We're going to use our 3 timeouts. We're going to get the ball back. Whatever, you know. I mean, so,
yep.
But getting to the game sometimes is worrying about how we're going to play, what could happen, what the other team might do that we're not prepared for.
Yeah.
You know, how we really haven't maybe done the best job with our players in preparing them for something that might happen that you can't really know what might happen, but you always would like to have your team be prepared, so that's probably the biggest thing. But, you know, here's the question that I have for Tom, because he used to ask me all kinds of questions. And this was a question that I had, which people don't think this way, so nobody ever thought to ask this. But what I was thinking when they were lining up to kick a field goal, and the question that I had was, what if we do if he misses? We're going to get the ball on the 20-yard line with 55 seconds to go. Should we go 2 minutes to score and give them a chance and maybe turn it over, or should we just play for overtime? So I'm asking you, what should we have done? I'm asking you because you got all these opinions about everything. So let's hear it.
Tom, if we had set the clock at 0 from when you actually walked in, if we had set the running time on the clock, I actually feel very, very good about how long it took for the first little zinger to get delivered here. This is very long.
This is not a zinger. This is a legitimate question.
No.
I had.
But the legitimate question was followed by the, you have all these opinions, you know everything, you're with the media, and all of that.
So answer the question.
Based on what you said earlier, that you don't operate out of fear, that you operate through belief and confidence, and obviously you're playing to win, I think you don't play for the tie. 2-minute drill, 55 seconds, you execute, you go down, you get a score, and you win. You don't operate out of the fear that you may turn the football over.
Good. I'm glad you agree with what I would have done.
Good. Survive in advance.
Good for you, Tom. Good for you. Right now, we got to take a break.
Well, but let me tell you before the break, though. I mean, he said,
no chance for the last word. No chance.
No, I did not want to any zingers. I did not want that because I do really, really like and respect Tom for what he does. He's a true professional. He's been very good to us at Alabama, and he's been very good to me personally. And when you do an interview with him, It's never, ever something to try to put you in the corner or paint you in a way that you feel uncomfortable. And it's always very informational, and he has a unique way of getting things that are interesting out, but they're not always controversial, and it's not always to put you on the spot. And I really do appreciate that professionalism.
Thank you very much.
So there's your zinger.
Thank you.
No zinger there. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network.
Yeah, I got 2 slices.
11:30 is the airtime Saturday. Alabama against #1 Mississippi State from Bryant-Denny Stadium right here on the network. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
Once in a while, a player comes along and completely changes the game. It's no different when it comes to a car. A car that doesn't just change the game, but dominates it. The unrivaled 2015 Toyota Camry.
Now lease a new 2015 Toyota Camry SE for $209 a month for 24 months.
Toyota, let's go places. Offer valid November 4th through January 5th, 2015. 2608 due at signing. Camry SE with select equipment. 350 disposition fee for qualified lessees. Excludes tax tag, registration title, and other fees. Cannot combine with other offers.
Hey, Tide fans, when you're getting ready for this week's game, stock up on Golden Flake. Pick up your favorite bag of Golden Flake potato chips, Tostados, or cheese puffs, and you'll be ready to tailgate like a true Tide fan. Golden Flake, the favorite chip of the Alabama Crimson Tide.
The best choice you can make is a big bag of Golden Flake.
Be the hero of your tailgate this season. Go to eatatjacks.com to place your order for the ultimate fan fuel. Get your team ready for the big game with Jack's delicious hand-breaded chicken fingers, fried chicken, sides, biscuits, and more. Jack's now a proud partner of the Crimson Tide. Now let's talk about Sport Clips. You're a guy, and when you need a haircut, you need it right now. So come on in, because at Sport Clips, you never need an appointment. Visit any of our Alabama stores and ask for the MVP service. Sport Clips, it's good to be a guy.
Hey, bartender, 2 Coors Lights.
You got it. I need 2 Coors Lights.
Sure thing.
With a taste as cold as the Rockies, only Coors Light gives you refreshment every time.
2 ice-cold Coors Lights.
That's the coldest beer I've ever had.
Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. With great beer comes great responsibility.
Cold hard fact. When it comes to Rocky Mountain Cold Coors Light, remember, 21 means 21. Coors Light reminds you, with great beer comes great responsibility.
Play clock at 7, 6. Gets the snap. Looks for a fade near side. Got it, Alabama. DeAndrew White, touchdown. DeAndrew White, touchdown. On a 6-yard fade to the near side of the end zone. Touchdown, Alabama.
In overtime, down at Baton Rouge. Welcome back to the Nick Saban Show, presented by Alpha Insurance. For the best agents in the business, call Alpha. We're live at Bob's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa. Tom Rinaldi, our media guest from ESPN. Were you able to see that game? I'm sure you've watched it since then, but were you able to watch it live?
Yes, I was able to watch it, and I think after the fumble, I'm absolutely surprised that the Tide did find a way to get it in overtime. But I also think there were 2 really fascinating plays in overtime. The first was the very first play call, which was fascinating, and number 2 was, I think, the drop on the first play when LSU had possession of the ball was a huge play in that game in determining its outcome.
You know, another one that the coach talked about earlier this week was the last play in regulation, the kickoff, where Reuben Foster absolutely hammered Leonard Fournette. And the coach talked about it energized the sidelines. And sometimes you need that on the road especially.
We were talking about that a little bit at practice today, that exact point of, even though it was the last play in regulation, sure, we've all seen what a kickoff can do in the last play. But that did send a message, and it seemed to really energize the Tide.
Is what's happening now in college football exactly what we all hoped for and expected with this new playoff system?
I think so. I think we heard Tom so often about a fear that somehow would diminish or devalue the regular season. The exact opposite has happened with the advent of the playoff.
All right, you get to open this half hour with a coach.
Coach, I wonder how quickly, or if at all, you used the lesson of a couple of years ago when you had a huge and dramatic win in Death Valley. Then you came back at home and you had a stumble against A&M. And the ability to handle momentum and handle prosperity and find a way not to let down at all. Obviously, you're facing the #1 team in the country. But if you reference that, and if so, why?
Well, I think you use past experiences when you can to sort of make people aware of a situation. And I think that the LSU game has become such an emotional game and such a rivalry game, here in the last, 7 years. I think that we've had a good team. They've had a really good team most of the time. There's a lot of consequences, pending on the outcome of that game. It's tough for them to play here when we play here. It's tough for us to play there when we play there. So it's a very, very emotional game. And when you have a very emotional win in that game, there's a little bit of a hangover that comes with that, to try to bounce back for the next game. And I did reference it, talk to the players about that, and told them that, we didn't play particularly well the last time. We won at the end of the game down there in 2 minutes and came back and were behind Texas A&M 21-0 in the first quarter. And, we've got to put that behind us. Everybody's got to be responsible for their energy and how they prepare and how they approach this game so that we don't have the same kind of circumstance when we come out to play this game, because this is a very good team, and we're going to have to play our best game of the season to be able to do that. Now, you can't discount the fact that it was a very physical game.
You're right.
And sometimes it's tough for guys to come back and practice the way you'd like for them to practice when they're banged up, beat up, or whatever. And, we went through a little bit of that early in the week, but, later on we're making progress, the kind of progress that I hope will be beneficial to how we play in the game.
A bunch of fans here at Bob's Victory Grill, including a gentleman who wants to ask a question. Tell us who you are, where you're from.
Donnie Dodd from Carbon Hill.
From Carbon Hill?
Yeah. Coach, I know your dad instilled a lot of qualities in you to give you the character and the coach that you are now. If you had one thing to draw out of that memory that you have of him before the team took the field Saturday, what would it be that you would tell them?
Well, my dad was a perfectionist. I mean, he really was, and he expected, that kind of sort of perfection from us, in the family, as well as the people that worked, for him. And but he also expected it from himself in terms of how he did things, the example that he set, the kind of leadership that he provided. And, I don't think I would tell the players exactly that, but philosophically, that's kind of how I am in terms of how I approach what we do, with our team. Trying to get every player to play their best on a consistent basis so they have sort of the mental mindset that they want to be the best that they can be, and they're willing to go do the things they have to do to do it. So I would say that that's probably the first thing that came to my mind. Now, I can't say that would be what I would say to the team. I have to think about that for a little bit.
Coach, just real quickly, I'm sure many people here do know this story, but for those who don't, just share the story of the leaf. The leaf at the top of the hill at the end of practice when you played midget football for the team that your dad created, sort of the proof that you would run up to the top of the hill.
Yeah, well, we used to practice for a long time. When I was in Pop Warner football, and my dad started Pop Warner football, bought a school bus, went and picked everybody up. Everybody probably knows that story. But he was the coach, and he was tough. And we won like 33 games in a row, but it wasn't easy, and it was difficult. So when practice got over, most of the time it was dark. And out in left field of this baseball stadium, there wasn't a stadium, it was just a field. There was a huge mountain of a hill in left field that kind of went up about 20, 30 feet and leveled off and went up, and I mean straight up. And then at the top was the woods started, the tree line. So when we'd do conditioning, our conditioning was to sprint up that hill, which was probably 70, 80 yards, to the top. Almost the length of a football field, but it was straight up. So it was so dark that he really couldn't see whether we made it to the top or not. So we had to take a leaf from a tree when we got to the top and bring it back down as a token that we made it to the top. So, there weren't very many leaves up there because we ran up that hill a lot.
Yeah. Every single day, right?
Every day.
Well, let's go to Huntsville, Alabama on the Academy Sports and Outdoors Hotline to Joe. Roll Tide. Joe, how are you? Joe, are you with us?
Yes, sir. I'm with you, Tom. It's Parkville.
Hey, Joe.
Okay.
Joe, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Coach. Right quick. Veterans Day. If it wasn't for our veterans, we wouldn't be here.
That's for sure. We certainly appreciate all the veterans have done to, help us be able to maintain the lifestyle that we have. All those that have, made sacrifices in their life and with their life so that, we can have the quality of life that we all have. And we're going to have Marcus Luttrell, in and do honor for him this week. And he's actually going to come over and meet the team tomorrow. So we certainly appreciate that, and we appreciate you if you're a veteran.
Joe, we thank you for the phone call. Another question from the Nick Saban Show blog at AL.com. Also in Huntsville, Jeremy says, how are the freshmen doing that we've not seen yet this year? Does anyone really stand out on the scout team?
Yeah, we always have to make a decision about early in the year as to whether we'll play guys or not play them. And we have to make an assessment of, will this particular guy play enough that it will enhance his development to play him. And that doesn't mean that a player's not a really good player, but it may have something to do with the depth that you have at a certain position at that particular time, or how quickly that guy was able to learn his position and be productive, how much he would have played on special teams. I would actually say that we do not have a freshman in this class that we are disappointed in. This is really a fine group. Now, this may be the only group that I can ever remember as long as I've been coaching. When we have our Thursday morning academic meeting at 11 o'clock, we get everybody's schedule, what they're making in every class, what their attendance is, their assignments are, how many points they got. If they missed anything, they get a point, and what the plan is to fix it. And most of the time, we only go through the players who have issues, who are struggling in a class. And we went for 2 or 3 weeks, like this semester, where not one freshman was highlighted to have any issue or problem.
That's pretty impressive. Very impressive. Well, I'd be willing to bet that the young man standing at the end of the bar right now, about to take the microphone, wouldn't give you a problem either. You got a question for the coach?
My name is John Douglas Ritchie. I'm from Northport, Alabama. This weekend in the game, my dad's he was a football player for Alabama, and my mom's a majorette for Mississippi State. If you were in my shoes, what would you do?
Not that I don't have enough problems. Man,
Great
I don't
question.
know. I'd say, it's time to put your diplomatic hat on and be very diplomatic and very positive with both sides, and really appreciate and respect both of your parents for, what their traditions have been in terms of who they root for, who they like, where they went to school, and all that type of thing. And I would say, regardless of who wins the game, I would, above all, respect that in both of my parents.
Very good answer. Very good answer. We've got a few more questions for the coach coming up after our final break. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
Man, do I love card night. You ready, boys? You got a king?
Go, fish dad.
Oh, come on. This is WWE superstar Titus O'Neil. The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Learn more at 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
I'm in almost every school busing classroom. You see me around the neighborhood, and you tell me that I'm a pretty good kid. Well, I'm 1 out of every 5 children in America, and I'm struggling with hunger.
Please visit feedingamerica.org today and find your local food bank for ways to help.
Every dollar you donate helps provide 8 meals for kids like me. We are Feeding America, brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
To a single ember from a wildfire, the branches hanging over your roof look like big matchsticks, and the dry leaves and twigs in your gutter are perfect kindling. Some fire hazards aren't clearly marked and can impact your neighbors. Learn to spot them. Your home is better protected from wildfire when your whole community is prepared. Visit fireadapted.org for tips to get started. A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Man, last night we put on an epic light show.
So epic.
The crowd loved us.
Wait, there were only 4 people out there.
Yeah, but did you see their 4 faces? Their eyes lit up brighter than ours, and we're fireflies.
Yeah, we are.
And we're gonna be out here rocking out our light show at a forest near you, so come check us out.
Check us out.
Whether you're rocking their world or they're rocking yours, some memories never fade. Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
And this is it here at 4th and 10.
With an empty backfield, 2 wides either way. Here's Jennings stepping back. He looks. He needs 10 yards at least. He loads up. He floats one towards the end zone, pushing and shoving. Knocked away by Alabama. The Crimson Tide wins. The Crimson Tide wins. Alabama pulls one out of the back pocket.
And it was an amazing comeback down at LSU last Saturday night. And there were some of us on the broadcast crew who were screaming and yelling with excitement, just like fans were in the stadium. Welcome back to the Nick Saban Show, presented by Alpha Insurance. Tom Rinaldi, our media guest for the week. And you were just telling me a little bit of a story, but I won't press you on that because that may be your final question for the coach. What do you think is going to happen Saturday?
I think that the Tide has, to a certain degree, been a different team away from Bryant-Denny than it has been at home.
Yeah.
And one of the questions that I think will be answered early on in the game, Coach Saban has alluded to a couple of times already. What will the physical hangover be from LSU, and then what will the mental hangover be? I think some of that is handled by the fact that it's the #1 team in the country coming in. So,
and being at home certainly helps.
No question.
Well, we got one more question from the Academy Sports and Outdoors Hotline. We go to Cincinnati, where Matt's on the line. Roll Tide, Matt.
Roll Tide to you, Tom, and thank you for taking my call. Coach Saban, can you just give us an update in regards to TJ Yeldon for his status for Saturday's game?
Yeldon.
TJ.
Oh, TJ Yeldon. You know what? He's been able to practice probably, at least maybe 75, 80% the last couple days. I think he'll be able to play in the game. How explosive he'll be in the game kind of remains to be seen. The kind of injury that he has is something he can play with, but if he practices too much, it really aggravates it. So we just try to practice him enough so he's ready to play. He certainly had a great season for us, and I think, what sometimes people, I'm watching these highlights, all they show is him running the ball. All right, but the guy is a fantastic receiver. He's a great pass blocker. He's a really good third down back. So, we miss a lot of things, just like, when Kenyon Drake went out, everybody thinks about, him running for a long touchdown and how fast he is, but he's also the best special teams player. He's one of the great receivers. He's a really good third down back. I mean, you miss so many things about a guy that people don't even realize, and I think that's the big thing with TJ is he plays really, really well when he doesn't have the ball, and I don't know how much people really appreciate that.
One more question from the fan here at Bob's Victory Grill. Who are you and where are you from?
Debbie Long from Tuscaloosa.
My question is, with Dak Prescott being so accurate in his passing and lots of speed running, what are your keys to stopping him this weekend?
Well, I think that's a really, really good question, and I probably the biggest, maybe the key to the game is their quarterback is really sort of the heart and soul of their team in terms of the kind of player that he is. He's a big physical guy. You know, I made a comparison earlier in the week. You know, he's a lot like Tebow was when he played. And I said he was a really good passer, which some people took like I was criticizing Tim Tebow for the kind of passer he was. I was not at all. I was just complimenting Dak on, you know, what a good passer he is. And I thought Tim Tebow was a good college quarterback and a good passer. When we had to play him, and he made some great throws when they beat us in the SEC championship game when we played against them. So, you know, what makes it most difficult when you play against this kind of quarterback is if the guy's just a running quarterback, you can always load the box and you say, well, they can't really throw the ball well enough anyway, so it really doesn't matter, so we'll just stop him running. Well, these guys have some big physical and some other fast receivers, so they've got a really good receiving core, and he is a really good passer, you know, to go with his ability to run. He has, I think, maybe just 5 or maybe 8 less runs as a quarterback than their tailback has. All right, so that just, and he's not a guy that goes back to pass and scrambles like Johnny Manziel and takes off running all over the place. On passing plays, he passes the ball, he can scramble, and he does extend plays. But these are quarterback runs. These are plays that are his number to call and read and run the ball. It creates an extra gap. It creates an extra blocker, you know, because the guy that would normally get the ball sometimes is blocking for him. So what really is key in this is very, very disciplined play up front in terms of gap control, reading the plays, fitting the plays correctly. And no matter how you cut the mustard, you have to be able to cover their receivers, and you can't play, you know, soft coverages where you really help the defenders by having 2 safeties behind them all the time, because you'll never be able to stop the runs. So it creates a lot of problems, and it's going to be very challenging for our players. And they've scored a lot of points on offense, and they're one of the most productive offenses in the country and in our conference. So this is going to be a huge challenge for our defense. So, but the one thing that I think our guys do pride themselves in is their ability to stop the run. These are just a little bit different type of runs. And they do a lot of formations, a lot of personnel groupings, and to stay sound against all the things that they do is very difficult. And he has a very good supporting cast. They have a big offensive line, and they've got really good skill players. And number 13 is a really good running back. So this is the best offensive team we've played all season long, and it's going to be a real challenge for us. And we're going to have to do a great job. And it takes team defense, everybody, secondary support, good tackling, good gap control up front, everybody keying and diagnosing plays. They have some really difficult play action passes off of some of these running quarterback runs that they have. So this is going to be a very challenging game for our defense.
Tom Rinaldi, thanks for joining us tonight. We'll look forward to seeing you Saturday morning on game day.
Thank you very much, Tom. Thanks for having me, Coach.
Coach, you get the final word presented by Mercedes-Benz.
Well, you know, you know, really, it's going to be great for our players to be back in Bryant-Denny Stadium. I mean, we played 1 game at home in the last 7 weeks. You know, we've played well at home to this point, but we've always had a fantastic atmosphere, you know, in this game. And I'm going to tell all the fans the same thing that I told our players, you know, because I get the feeling sometimes when people say Mississippi State, you know, they think about the past, and they think about maybe, you know, even articles in the paper talking about the last time they won a championship, or, you know, last time they beat Alabama or whatever it is. We're not playing Mississippi State. We're playing the number 1 team in the country.
That's right.
And they deserve what they have by their body of work and what they've done to this point. And it's going to take all of your part of the team. It's going to take all of our best efforts, our team's best effort, high energy, high enthusiasm, very positive atmosphere out there, very supportive. You know, they're going to be no huddle, make them go on silent count with the noise. That'll help the defensive players. So it's going to take a great effort by everybody in that stadium, so that we have the best chance to be successful with our players. I told you that this team, when everybody was complaining about this team after the Arkansas game. They'd do things to make you proud. This would be the proudest moment if you could support our players to, help them win this game.
Sounds great, Coach. Thanks for joining us. Roll Tide.
Thanks, Tom. I really appreciate you doing this,
Thanks
man.
for having me. Thank you.
We're going to come back, wrap things up in a moment. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
Whoa. The moment my son saw a redwood tree.
It's huge!
Is the moment I knew that for him,
You can't even see the top of that thing.
even the sky has no limit.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. Your moment is out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
It's 6:42 p.m. Time for Steve Plotto and his son Dylan to do the dishes. They talk about everything from the yuckiness of girls to the awesomeness of his soccer team. Sometimes they don't talk at all. Then, hey! The dreaded splash fight. It's Dad o'clock, and it's the best time of the day. Because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
In 50 feet, turn left. Why are you driving so slowly?
After a few drinks, I'm taking it slow.
Well, you're not fooling the cop behind you.
What?
Get ready to pay in 0.1 miles.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Okay, forest animals, kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow, have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. River, how's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man.
I love it. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. Okay. Squirrel.
The forest has been preparing just for you. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Hey, Alabama fans, make every day feel like game day with the University of Alabama Visa check card from Regions. Regions helps you move life forward with checking account features like online banking with bill pay, mobile banking with Regions Mobile Deposit, and cashback rewards. Regions is a proud sponsor of your Alabama Crimson Tide and is the official bank of the SEC. Visit Regions.com/GoBama for more information, or go to any Regions bank to order your University of Alabama check card today. Regions, member FDIC. Terms, conditions, and fees may apply.
The Learfield Sports Directors Cup honors the nation's best overall collegiate athletic program in each division, men's and women's sports. The prestigious award continues its reign as the crowning achievement in college athletics, noting the remarkable efforts of student athletes and their institutions. To follow your favorite team, like us on Facebook. Find us in USA Today, online, and on Twitter at LS Directors Cup. Over 2 decades of excellence, the Learfield Sports Directors Cup.
Let's wrap things up on Hey Coach of the Nick Saban Show, presented by Alpha Insurance. One of our fans tonight received a Bama tailgate banner from Banner Stadium. Check them out online at bannerstadium.com. Coming up tomorrow night, men's and women's basketball. The women taking on Florida A&M on WTSK here in Tuscaloosa at 5:25. 7 o'clock on the network, it's the Bama men against Towson. And of course, Saturday morning at 11:30, the showdown in T-Town. Bama football taking on top-ranked Mississippi State. Thanks to Jerry and Jan back in the studio, to Tom Stipe here on location at Bob's Victory Grill, and to all the folks here, we say thank you as well. Most of all, thanks to all of you for joining us tonight. And until Saturday morning, roll Tide, everybody.
Live from Bob's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa, this has been Hey Coach, presented by Alpha. For the best agents in the business, call Alpha. Also brought to you by Coke Zero. Real Coke taste, 0 calories. Bud Light, the perfect beer when you're up for whatever. Your Alabama Ford dealers. Alabama Saturdays, built Ford tough. And by Golden Flake, the official chip of the Crimson Tide. The preceding has been a presentation of the Crimson Tide Sports Network, a property of Learfield Sports.